What if the very foundation of America's rise to global power was built not just on innovation and freedom, but on the backs of millions stolen from their homes, forced into endless labor under the sun? Today's video is about the gripping and heartbreaking story of how slavery shaped early America, from the first shadowy arrivals in Virginia to the explosive cotton empire that defined the nation's economy, society, politics, and even its soul. Stick with me, this isn't just history, it's the untold force that molded the country we know today. Our story begins in the sweltering summer of 1619, off the coast of Virginia. A Dutch ship, the White Lion, limps into Point Comfort near Jamestown, carrying 20 and odd Africans, captives torn from their lives in Angola, traded like cargo after a brutal voyage known as the Middle Passage. At first, they weren't called slaves. Many were treated like indentured servants, bound for years but with a chance at freedom. But the soil of the New World hungered for labor. Tobacco, that addictive golden leaf, had become Virginia's salvation after near starvation. Planters needed hands that wouldn't leave after their terms ended. Slowly, laws hardened. By 1640, a black man named John Punch was sentenced to lifelong servitude for running away, while his white companions got extra years. In 1662, Virginia declared that a child's status followed the mother. If she was enslaved, so was her baby. Hereditary bondage had arrived. What started as a trickle became a flood. As the 1600s rolled into the 1700s, the southern colonies, Virginia, Maryland, the Carolinas, and Georgia, transformed into plantation worlds. Picture vast fields of tobacco waving like green seas in Virginia, rice swamps in the Carolinas where mosquitoes carried death, and indigo blooming purple under the relentless sun. These weren't small farms, they were empires built on human suffering. The Triangle trade locked it all in. Ships carried rum and goods from New England to Africa, traded them for captives, sailed the horror-filled Middle Passage to the Americas, then returned with tobacco, rice, and sugar to Europe. Enslaved Africans weren't just workers, they were the engine. By the mid-1700s, slavery dominated the South's economy, with enslaved people making up a third or more of the population in places like South Carolina. Then came the invention that changed everything, Eli Whitney's cotton gin in 1793. Before it, separating cotton seeds from fiber took forever by hand. The gin made short staple cotton, easy to grow inland, profitable overnight. Suddenly, the Deep South exploded with demand. Planters rushed west into Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, carving new kingdoms from wilderness. Cotton became king. From 1801 to 1835, U.S. cotton exports skyrocketed from 100,000 bales to over 1 million, making up half of all American exports. The South produced 75% of the world's cotton, fueling factories in England and the North. Slavery wasn't a side note, it was the fuel. Enslaved people were America's largest financial asset. Their bodies built fortunes. The Mississippi River Valley boasted more millionaires per capita than anywhere else in the nation. Planters lived like kings in grand mansions, while the enslaved toiled from dawn to dark, picking cotton under the whip, their daily quotas rising brutally 400% more per person over decades through terror and efficiency. But the story runs deeper than economics. Slavery didn't just make the South rich, it warped society itself. A rigid racial hierarchy emerged. Reek supremacy became law and custom. Enslaved families were torn apart at auctions, children sold from mothers, husbands from wives. Yet, in hidden moments, they built resilient cultures. They sang spirituals that doubled as coded messages for escape, told stories of African ancestors around secret fires, forged communities in the quarters. Their labor touched everything, from cooking Southern cuisine, blending African flavors with native and European ones, to shaping music, folklore, and faith that still echo in gospel, blues, and jazz. In the North, slavery's shadow lingered too. Merchants profited from cotton textiles, banks loaned money against enslaved people as collateral, and even some northern states held slaves longer than you'd think. Politically, slavery haunted the nation's birth. When the founders wrote the Constitution in 1787, they compromised darkly. The 3/5 clause counted enslaved people as 3/5 of a person for representation and taxes, boosting Southern power in Congress without granting rights. The Fugitive Slave Clause demanded runaways be returned. These deals let the Union form, but planted seeds of division. As the young republic expanded westward, every new territory sparked fights. Would it be slave or free? Missouri in 2020, Texas annexation, the compromise of 50-50, the cracks widened. Slavery wasn't just Southern, it defined national debates, from tariffs to infrastructure, pulling the country towards civil war. Early America wasn't born purely from ideals of liberty. Slavery's brutal reality created unimaginable wealth for some, stunted development in others, holding back industry, education, and cities in the South while enriching the nation overall. It forged a divided society where freedom for some rested on chains for others, leaving scars that echo through generations in wealth gaps, culture, and politics. So next time you think of America's beginnings, remember, the story isn't just of pilgrims and revolutionaries. It's also of stolen lives, forced labor, and a system so powerful it shaped the economy that made the United States a superpower. The legacy endures, but understanding it is the first step towards healing. Thanks for journeying through this dark but essential chapter with me. If this moved you, like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. What part surprised you most? Until next time, keep seeking the full story.